Hello, my name is Skylar Pyle and I'm the editor-in-chief for the Weber State University Signpost. I have a special guest here today, Stephen Pearce, who is an alumni of Weber State University. He was the non-traditional senator while he was here, and he graduated in 2011 with a bachelor's in integrated science. He has recently been in Tunisia, North Africa for the last 2 years, is that right?
Yes.
Last 2 years, and he had a quite interesting experience just recently that we brought him on to tell us a little bit about. So tell me a little bit about what you were doing in North Africa.
I'm involved in a program called AIMS, American Institute for Maghreb Studies. It's sponsored by the U.S. State Department in collaboration with the Tunisian Ministry of Education. And they're in partnership with UNESCO, the Ford Foundation and Fulbright program. I was working on research on how to improve the Tunisian economy through environmental initiatives, because there's areas of Tunisia that have a really bad environmental problem, such as Gabas, and I wanted to help them, and I was also working with the Tunisian government with development banks on development projects.
What is Gabas?
Gabas is a city in southern Tunisia. The pollution is so bad that people are dying, their bones are becoming brittle, everything. It's so bad, it's pollution in that area.
So what were you able to accomplish in the 2 years that you were there?
I helped ANJED, which is the Tunisian Ministry of Waste Management, with getting a solution for waste management to help them with recycling and taking the waste management and what they couldn't get rid of, they could actually convert it to an energy, GHG emission free, and sell it to the Ministry of Energy. And I helped the Ministry of Health with some waste management for the medical facilities, and also help with sustainable energy projects with solar panels and everything in the south.
Wow. So let's get into the kind of crazy details of your recent experience. Now, you were telling me that they are in the process of having their election come up here.
Yes.
And when is that happening?
I heard the 15th and I heard the 21st. So I was trying to find information on Google and I can't get an exact date. But I heard this is coming up though real soon.
So tell me a little bit about what happened a week ago when you were still there?
2 Wednesdays ago, I had just left the coffee shop, Golden Coffee in Hammashat, and I went to go get a Red Bull. After I bought my Red Bull, I was walking. The National Guard, which is their equivalent of the sheriffs, pulled up and they said, "Come with us." I said, "Okay, why?" "Well, just come with us." So I did. And so they took me to the National Guard office. They said, "We're going to send you home." And I said, "Why is that?" They said, "Your visa's expired." I said, "How is my visa expired? I'm married to a Tunisian. I have my wife and my daughter is Tunisian. It gives me full residency, and I applied for my carte de séjour. Every time I go to get my carte de séjour, which is your residency card, they said, "Oh, come back," or "We lost your paperwork. I need you to bring this back or bring this back." And then they would ask me questions. "So why are you here? You're an American." So they didn't really respect in the Hamam Leaf Touristic Police, where I was in the area that I was at to get my carte de séjour. They didn't respect the CMAT paperwork, which is part of AIMS. CMAT is the Tunisian office for AIMS.
Okay.
And with the agreement between the State Department and the Ministry of Education in Tunisia, which the paperwork definitely said while I was there, and I had given them all the paperwork, so there was no problem. But they kept saying, "Come back, come back, come back."
So they've interrogated you, it seems, pretty intensely.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really speak English. There was one person that kind of spoke English. They just wouldn't listen to me. They said, "Oh, it's not us. It's the other police." They were trying to put it on somebody else.
And just to clarify really quick, when you said National Guard, just for our audience, you know, you're not talking about any National Guard from the United States that's there, because you did get taken to the embassy, correct?
No, I was able to call the embassy.
You were able to call the embassy.
The embassy came and visited me the next day.
Okay.
But no, the National Guard is or Garde Nationale in French, because they speak French and Arabic, or Tunisian Arabic in Tunisia. And it seemed like that they targeted me though, for whatever reason. I don't really know. They were saying stuff about Daesh or ISIS was looking at me, and they said like ISIS would want to do something to me.
So they were making it out like they were keeping you there or they had picked you up to try to protect you.
Yes, they made it seem like that. And then I said, "Are you serious?" The guy said, "No, he was joking."
Okay.
And then I had this book that I had read at the coffee shop previously. It was called after jihad, America's problem with America and the struggle for Islamic democracy is about spreading democracy in the Arab world to try to stop jihad, and have a democracy in the Arab world. But the National Guard had seen the book and they thought it was a book about jihad because they don't know how to read English, and they don't read books anyways over there, those guys.
So everything's pretty tense.
Yes.
Everything's pretty tense. So what happened after that? Tell me what happened after you got picked up and had the interrogation go down. What happened next?
I had some friends come there to try to talk to them. Even one of my friends who was in the Tunisian military, and I have a friend in the Tunisian National Guard. He tried to talk to them because he said he was going to help me get my carte de séjour. They wouldn't tell him much, and my other friends came, and then they said, okay, well, we're going to take you to this place and we'll let them decide. Maybe you could stay, maybe you can't. So they took me to this other place. So when I told them I had in Tunis, so I told them I had a wife and a daughter in Tunisia, they said, okay, well, we're going to take you to the hotel, then you could tell that in the administration tomorrow. So I thought I was going to see a judge or something, and they were just going to take me to a hotel. They could see that I'm married and let me go. I didn't think anything of it. So they put me in this truck, and then they took me to another location. So then the gates opened. So then they bring me into the place, and they shut the gates, and I realize I'm in this detention camp, this immigration camp, and they completely lied to me. They said they were going to take me to a hotel, like I was going to be able to see a judge. And so then the next day, I went to the administration, and I got to speak to the embassy. And the people at the administration said, oh, we can't find any proof that you're married or have a daughter. They said, we can't find any proof. And then the embassy said to me, oh, don't be mad, but they said they couldn't find her paperwork, but they didn't look. This is what the embassy had told me. And so the embassy said they were going to try to help me contact my parents and, family. I had to give them some phone numbers of people to call. And then the next day, I saw my daughter's I went through my stuff. I saw my daughter's birth certificate and my marriage contract. When I gave it to the director, he said, where did you get this from? I said, I found it on my stuff. He told me I was lying. I said, I'm not lying. I got it from my stuff. He said, no, a man told me. I said, a man didn't tell you anything. This is in my stuff. So he said, okay, I'm going to take you back to the administrative place tomorrow. So when they took me the next day, but all I did was sit there. And then the embassy called and they said, your family's going to send you a ticket in a couple of days. They didn't even look at my paperwork. When they told me that they were going to let me go.
So what was it like being inside this internment camp?
Man, I was scared because
I think that's pretty scary.
They had put, everyone I was the only Westerner there for sure. No, not even anyone from Europe. And they put me in a room with all black Africans, and then there's Arabs there too, like from Syria and Libya, places that the U.S. had recently had bombed or something. So I'm in this immigration camp with these people that I was thinking that they were going to try to harm me, but they were actually all super friendly. But
were they all getting picked up as well and just put there, or was this kind of is this like a jail or something that they put people in, or they just literally picking people up off the street?
They were just picking people up. I mean, some of the people were students. They were like students. This one guy was from the Congo, from the smaller Congo, because he was telling me there was a big Congo and a small Congo. He was from the small Congo. He was a student in the city of Sousse, and they just picked him up. But he was a student, he was on a student visa. And they were just picking up mostly black Africans. When I say black Africans, I mean from sub-Saharan Africa, because Tunisia is in North Africa, which they consider white Africa.
Okay.
But they're really Berbers or Moors, so they're a different ethnic group.
But the Sahara is right connected, Tunisia is at the very top, and then the Sahara Desert is just right connected to the bottom of that country.
Exactly.
Okay.
I've been in the Sahara in Tunisia. I mean, that's where they made Star Wars. I was at Tatooine. So anyway, we're in this room. The only running water goes into a toilet. Can you imagine? It goes into a toilet. We all have our own beds, but you have to order bottled water and stuff, and it's a really intense place. There was a Libyan who tried to hang himself while I was in there. There was 4 different Arab people in there that were seriously mentally ill from PTSD from their countries. Some of those people that came to Tunisia just for refugee status to flee their war-torn countries, and Tunisia just said, when they came and they said we wanted refugee status in Tunisia, just put them in their immigration camps.
So when we were talking before, when you were actually there and able to contact with me at the time that you were in the internment camp, tell me a little bit about just, I mean, you were saying that there were about 40 to 60 of you in one room.
Yes.
You all did have your own bed. However, I mean, you got locked in. So you were able to kind of leave your cell and go walk around during the day inside of the camp itself. Were you guys able to leave at all? Or were you just kind of locked up inside of this cell for the majority of the time frame that you were there?
There was like a little court in the middle where they played soccer or football, but it's on cement. And then they have what they called a restaurant where you could get the food and stuff. But we're locked up in this place unless they take you to an administrative place.
Wow. How many people were locked up inside this internment camp that you were able to see while you were there?
The section that I was in, I heard the number was 60.
60. Okay. So you were able to get out, and they obviously deported you.
Right.
So, and you had, what was that website that had you a petition that was on it where everybody kind of signed the petition to get free Stephen?
Yeah, my friend made that petition. I don't even know how many people signed it. I don't know what it was. My friend, John Gee on Facebook,
That wasn't something that assisted, though. You were just, your family was able to get the money together to buy you a ticket to get out?
Yes, yeah, they had, my friends had put together a social fundraising thing to get money also, then something for the embassy to free me. Because I was in there illegally. I had all my paperwork, all my documentation was good. I had broken no laws in Tunisia. I've been helping the Tunisian government with projects. There was no reason to have me in that place. I have a wife and daughter there. I mean, they targeted me for whatever reason. The National Guard doesn't like it when foreigners become friends with the Tunisians. They think there's something wrong with that situation. They don't want, even though they want to get money for tourism, they don't want their people to become friends with the tourists. So it's really odd. So if they see someone who's friendly and gets along with a lot of their people, they get angry. They don't like it. So they think they're either a spy or they think that they're a jihadi or something. I mean, I'm a Muslim, and I remember going to the Fajr, the morning prayer. The National Guard sits in front of all the mosques and write down the people's names who go to pray. I mean, it's crazy. That would never happen in the United States, ever.
No. Well, and what we had discussed earlier is that they are about to have an election go on in Tunisia, and there are some pretty horrific things that are happening that you said that you were kind of eyewitness to, that they were picking people up. Tell us a little bit about what you saw, and then also why it is that this corruption is going on.
Yeah, they were taking the Africans and some of the Arabs, African men and women, more men than women, and they were taking it into the desert to die. They were leaving, even though they get money from the United Nations to put people on flights to send them home, but they take the money and then they buy cars, buy houses, and don't use the money. And so they figure, oh, these people have nobody could send them money to help them. They have no money. They're worthless. No one will care. So they take them out to the desert in the Sahara between Algeria and Tunisia to die.
How does that have anything to do with the election process? I mean, if they're not citizens, or how does it matter whether they're in the city or not?
They were just saying that they needed to get people out of the immigration camp before the elections. They needed more, maybe they're planning to put people in that camp. I don't know. Like, I had heard different things, but I was trying to understand the whole situation. You know, I had barely slept there. I was hungry. I mean, they gave us a piece of bread in the morning. It was just a horrific situation. I mean, it was old, stale bread. I mean, I was hearing the stories what people were telling me, but it was all hard to take in. I mean, the National Guard, it's like they work with the old Ben Ali regime. So they want to stifle the democratic process. They don't want people to follow the religion either. So they've been arresting judges. They've been arresting journalists. All of this recently before the elections. So and from what I heard from Tunisians, the Tunisian military is for the people. They help the people. They actually fought against the National Guard in the Arab Spring Revolution. So the National Guard was raping women. They were arresting people, killing people. And the military came in and helped the people against the National Guard. So the National Guard was actually supporting Ben Ali, and now they're trying to stifle the election, actually, and try to put the old people back in the power.
So the National Guard, are they involved with ISIS, or is that the word that's around? Is that ISIS is somewhere connected with the government and this whole election process that's going on?
They have a group out there called Ansar al-Sharia. And Ghanouchi, who's in charge of the Nada party, who's currently in charge now, but I heard they're not going to be in the new election. He's number 2 in the Muslim Brotherhood. Everyone in the Arab world knows he's number 2 in the Muslim Brotherhood. They had released recordings that they put on YouTube of Ghanouchi speaking to people that were jihadis from Ansar al-Sharia, talking about causing problems and stuff. And so it seems like that there's some kind of connection with the Nada in them in order to try to stay in power, but I'm not exactly sure what it is. I've seen the videos, but my Arabic's not as strong enough to really say exactly what was being said.
Definitely. Well,
but ISIS is there. They're recruiting people.
They're there.
They were recruiting people in the town that I lived in,
Wow.
for sure.
That's really scary. So tell me a little bit more about what students here can do, just to kind of wrap us up. Let us know what students here at our campus can do to maybe assist with this issue or just be more informed about what's happening over there.
Well, I think Tunisia is really important because the whole world is trying to invest in Tunisia because they want to have an Arab country to be a model of democracy that could smoothly transition to a democracy, to be a model for the rest of the Arab world, which will translate to the Muslim world. And so I think that they should be aware about Tunisia, what's going on with Tunisia, read about the news and everything, because what goes on with Tunisia is going to affect the rest of the world, even though it's a small country. So just Google Tunisian news, I guess.
You can watch this at WSUsignpost.com and other stories as well. I'm Skylar Pyle. Thank you for joining us.